All right, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Fans Union for the fans by the fans. Here with my lovely co-host today, fellas. I think we got a lot to talk about. A lot kind of happened in the past 5 days in the world of college football. So before we get to that, how's everybody? We all have good Thanksgivings, all that good stuff.
Yes,
Not
sir.
too bad.
Good,
Nothing
good.
wrong with a little bit of turkey and stuffing.
Yeah, hey, as God intended it. Um, so, but yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the rivalry games that we saw. Had the pleasure or displeasure of watching, depending on which ones. Uh, obviously, big Kiffin news. Texas Sark has been pleading their case after their win over A&M. New rankings are out. There's a lot to go over here. And we're going to open it up with a little something different because usually we'll jump into a game, but I think it would be irresponsible to uh, bypass the Lane Kiffin official news that he has moved on to LSU. Seems like big conflict was he seemed to be really, at least per him, really conflicted. Wanted to stay, at least finish the season when Ole Miss, go through the playoffs. I've seen a lot that said like that the result of the Iron Bowl was going to predict things. So who knows? But ultimately, he is an LSU Tiger. Already got his boots on the ground with recruits. Saw his press conference yesterday. Yeah, there was so much that was going along with this. Obviously, Ole Miss has the big win over 38-19, I believe it was, over Ole Miss Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl. And ended up being his last game. For me personally, as I told y'all, with him not going to Florida, did record numbers on my burner. It's been a lovely back and forth there. But as soon as that LSU job opened up, I kind of had a feeling like this was the perfect thing because when you're in a SEC school, there's not many places that as a move up the ladder rather than a lateral move, right? But LSU is one of those places. If you're not at Clemson, I'm just gonna name some places. Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, maybe Texas, maybe. If you're at places like that, you're gonna have to entertain when they call. And ends up going. There was a big controversy about his staff having to come with him. Some of them, Lane refuted it, and now Charlie Weiss is coaching throughout the playoffs, assuming obviously they're most likely going to get in as they deserve. So yeah, what a way to start. I guess kind of end the weekend, if you will. Um, Logan, I know this affects you the most emotionally. Um, with him leaving your your beloved Rebels. So tell me a little bit about how you feel. What's going on?
Um, when Florida job was announced, as y'all know, I was not with it. I was like, nah, he's not leaving us for Florida. Like, I just was not buying that. LSU job initially, I was like, he kind of already been thrown in that his name was in that hat previously when they got Brian Kelly. So I was like, I don't know. It feels like he already kind of turned that down, but obviously it's a different year. About a weekend, I realized how serious LSU was quickly getting about Lane Kiffin. So that's when my tune started changing. I'm like, oh, damn, this shit could really happen. Like, I could feel it. Florida didn't really feel it. LSU, I felt it. I think LSU is a top 5 program in the nation. I don't think there's really disputing that. Florida, all in all, I feel like maybe is more of a lateral move. They have the history. They might have more funds, but we are a way better program in the last 10 years. So, like, I feel like that would be closer to a lateral move, whether y'all agree or not. I know y'all probably do not. But
Real quick before you go,
LSU,
I do want to say I think the thing that makes Florida an upper echelon, especially, is having a direct pipeline to the state of Florida high school recruiting. I think is what it's kind of the same thing with LSU as well. But LSU doesn't have to divide it up with Florida State and Miami, etc. But I just want to throw that in there. Please continue.
I mean, that's fair, but I don't know if the being the pipeline state is that dominant as it was in years past, personally. But maybe I'm wrong. LSU though, you're saying unless you're at Clemson, if you're at Clemson and you're not entertaining LSU, you're doing it wrong. I think Texas, Alabama, Georgia, maybe if you're Kirby, but honestly, if you're not Kirby Smart and you're not directly tied to Georgia, you're probably entertaining LSU as well. I think there's very few programs that are better than LSU. Death Valley at night's a real thing. As an Ole Miss fan, I'm very, very aware of that. It is what it is. It fucking sucks. I hate that Lane Kiffin's gone. The thing I hate the most is how he did it. I'm not going to sit on here. I've seen Ole Miss fans do it on social media. You're not about to see me get on this podcast and bash Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin took us to heights we've never been to. 3 straight 10-win seasons, an 11-win regular season this year, never been done in history. He's had us top 10 in the rankings, I think, 5 out of the 6 years he's been there, or 4 out of the 6 years, something like that. So, I mean, Lane Kiffin did his thing at Ole Miss. There's no disputing it. However, I do think it's awfully ironic that there's a little, not 30 for 30, but what the ESPN 60 thing or whatever they released. I think it's awfully ironic you released that, and the whole point of them releasing that is a show that you changed. The way he went out, he doesn't really look like he changed. Like, he definitely went out. It wasn't drama-free. You drug it out over 2 weeks. And like I said, I'm not going to sit here and dog him. But we all know that Lane Kiffin could have done this a lot smoother. This was a pretty rough way to go out at Ole Miss. Like, you literally, for 6 years, rehabbed your image and had a program put you on a pedestal like no other. And I don't think he went out the right way. And I honestly think Lane Kiffin probably already regrets the way things went down, just because it feels like he changed. It's like we all have that buddy that like goes around and cheats on his girl, right? And then he finally like settles down. You're like, oh, dude, he's being loyal to his girl. Like, he finally got a good girl. He's locked in. Shout out to my boy. And then it's like, whenever they start kind of going off the rails a little bit, you know, and then it's like all of a sudden he just resorts to hitting up the old shorties. And it's like, come on, bro. We thought you was different. It kind of feels like that. You know what I'm saying? It kind of feels like that. Like, damn, bro, you had us fooled, bro. I thought you was loyal. Like, I thought you wasn't going to be like posting her shit all over social media when y'all broke up and all that. But it's like, they went back to their old ways for a little minute, and then at the end, they end up being better from it, and like, you know, that was like their last hiccup maybe. So it kind of feels like that.
Are you saying, Logan? Are you saying that you can't turn a hoe into a housewife? Is that what you're insinuating?
I'm not about to get on here and dog Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, you're never going to see this. I appreciate you. Took our program to heights I've never seen us go to. I've never been so meh about a 10-win season in my life. Not that I'm meh about it, but like this year's 11-win season doesn't – if we go 11 wins 10 years ago, I'm ecstatic. I'm still ecstatic, but like it felt like we were supposed to be there, if that makes sense. Like I said earlier in the year, we beat LSU at home and didn't rush the field. LSU was number 4 in the country. We did not rush the field. It's like that's just the Kiffin – like he made that the standard at Ole Miss, and I'm not going to forget that. I'm not going to be like, oh, he left and now I'm going to badmouth him, you know? Like – you're not going to see me do that. I will always give flowers. Thank you, Lane Kiffin. Took us to places we've never been. Still, a couple ironic things in there. One of them also being last year you were so upset we didn't make the playoffs. This year we make the playoffs and you jump ship. Come on, bro. Like, you know, like it's a little bitter, but it is what it is. I saw Charlie Weiss is now coaching us and then going back to LSU. I don't understand letting him do that, but not Kiffin.
Agreed.
But at the same time, I was on record of saying, like, if he leaves, you got to let him coach. It's the only shot we have at the Natty. I still believe that. I still believe with him we have a shot at the Natty. Hey, I'm glad Pete Golding got the job. Pete Golding's not going to leave Ole Miss if they have a 10-win season. Pete Golding left Alabama for the same exact job in Oxford. Not a lot of people are leaving Alabama for the same exact job, the same exact position, and going to Ole Miss over Alabama. That just ain't happening. I said it when it happened. Like, anytime we get a coach to go from Alabama to Ole Miss for the exact same job, like that's a win for Ole Miss. Like, let's be honest. Like, Alabama's Alabama. They're the juggernaut. We are not a juggernaut. We are well aware of that. So I think that says a lot about Golding. The players being hyped when he was announced, love that. A lot of people are comparing it to Marcus Freeman when he was announced from the DC to the head coach over at Notre Dame. I think that's a pretty good comparison. However, we'll see what he does. Marcus Freeman's obviously been great over at Notre Dame, so cross our fingers and say a lot of prayers and hope that's the case here. There's a lot of unknown. He's never been a head coach, so that is a little scary, but at the same time, I appreciate Keith Carter being like, nah, we got our guy in the building. Like, there's no need to make any drastic moves. So it's like I appreciate him having Pete Golding's back The players have their back. Pete Golding wanted to come to Ole Miss over Alabama. That's a huge plus. Like, you got someone who wants to be there. He's not there rehabbing an image, which Kiffin was in the long run. That's really what he was at Ole Miss to do, rehab his image at a SEC school. So there's a lot of positives there, but obviously losing Lane Kiffin sucks. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. Playoff run should be interesting. I have seen people post, mostly LSU fans, they're saying that's cute that Ole Miss thinks we're a rival. Like, don't both sides have to look at us as a rival? And with that being said, I got a few things that I wrote for this, because it's like, if you don't think we're a rival, you're smoking dope, LSU. So that's a very false narrative. Back in 2008, they literally made a trophy for the game. You're not handing out trophies for non-rival games. That just usually, if there's a trophy involved, it's a rival game. There's no doubt about it. Also, you're one of our 3 opponents we face every year because you're a rival. Since 2008, when the trophy was presented, Ole Miss is 7-11 against LSU. LSU has 11 wins. We have 7. All time, we're 43-64, so they got us beat by 21 games. Not the most drastic difference, but they definitely have the edge, no doubt about it. But like I said, they're the better program. And since 2000, 13 of the 25 games have been one-score games. That screams rivalry, if you ask me. 13 of 25 games since 2000 have been one-score games. So it's like, I'm like, all right, LSU, you fucking take our coach, but don't disrespect us too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're already giving us enough disrespect, but you don't get to do both. You don't get to disrespect us as a program and take our coach. Come on, man. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm biased, but to me, those numbers scream rivalry. Yeah, they have the edge, but I also think they're a better program. They've also had Heisman winners and 3 or 4 championships since 2000. So the fact that we've had 13 one-score games against them since then is pretty impressive to me. And we've had some very bad years since 2000. So, yeah, just want to throw that out there. Yes, we're a rivalry. Don't play with us, LSU. Like, that's crazy. Like, but all in all, dude, I don't have a ton to say. I love you, Lane Kiffin. I hate the way you did it. That's the headline for me. Is do I think you went to a better program? Yes. But do I think you did it the right way? No. It could have been done a little smoother. And then also, hey, fuck you, Nick Saban, all right? Because it seems like Nick Saban's the one that said fuck Ole Miss and go to LSU. So Nick Saban, sit on it. That's all I got to say about Saban. That's the part that really like hurt my feelings about this. I'm like, damn, somebody you respect so much, and Saban is literally the one that goes, no, take the job. You go to LSU. And I'm like, I get it, but it's still a little disrespectful, you know? Like, it's like, come on, bro. But hey, it is what it is. He's been at LSU, so I completely understand Saban, preaching that up. So,
well, if anybody knows, he does. So appreciate that. That honesty you laid this out. That felt authentic, bro. Way to lay it out for us.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, hey, it's hard, dude. It's hard, but.
Well, I got some things I want to add to that, but I'm going to let Graham and Tripp go first. We hadn't heard their lovely voices yet. So, fellas, go ahead and add something.
Yeah, Logan, I know you said you're not going to talk bad about Lane Kiffin, but I will because I don't give a fuck. That was the most dramatic bullshit string of events for a head coach going somewhere that I've ever seen in my entire life. All in all, I don't hate Lane Kiffin at all. There's a reason why I didn't want him to go to Florida, and I've said this multiple times, is having to face him every year is not something I want to do. At the end of the day, I mean, I don't really think that either side was wrong in how it panned out, where Lane was wanting to coach them in the playoff because that's his team, but Ole Miss was like, hell no, you're leaving us. Why would we grant you that? And especially when LSU came in with the money saying, oh, we'll pay you your playoff bonuses. Come on. But I also think Lane Kiffin's full of shit. In that press conference when he said, oh, I told them I didn't want to know the monetary value of the contracts, and all I was doing was making a decision based on my heart. Come on, buddy. You're not fooling nobody. Like, you knew that $96 million was on that piece of paper. Like, and if anybody who says that he's telling the truth, you're crazy. Either way, like, it just turned into something that I don't feel like it should have been. But as Joey has brought up multiple times, and we've talked about this on other podcasts that we've recorded, a lot of this has to do with the calendar, unfortunately. Joey, did you want to jump in and say something?
No. Please keep going. I will add while it's on break. I'd say all of it is probably on the calendar, but please continue.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. These are the things you want to see happening in the offseason, but with a transfer portal opening up, with the playoffs going on, like universities have to make their decisions. And honestly, I was not expecting Ole Miss to promote within, but based on all of the other openings that have happened and have now been filled and people getting extended because of these openings, like it makes the most sense. I mean, the pool had almost ran dry at that point by the time Ole Miss or Lane Kiffin finally made his decision. So to me, at first, I was like, is he doing this to play Ole Miss? Like, just so they don't get anybody good? I don't know. And I'm not going to make any assumptions on that. But by a week and a half ago, I stopped giving a shit. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, Logan, I know obviously you're an Ole Miss fan, so you're going to give a shit. And if it was Kirby, I would be all over it every single day because that's my coach. So I'm not saying
watch.
I'm not saying you're wrong for being involved in it, but as an outsider looking in, I feel like I was watching Love Island. Like it got old quick. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I think Lane made the right decision, personally. Turning down a program like that for that kind of money with that kind of recruiting, NIL, you name it. There's not a lot of coaches that would turn that down. But like Logan said perfectly, it's the way he did it that bothers me. But Graham, I'll let you put your 2 cents in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll hop right out and say that I appreciated all y'all's takes on what's going on. Obviously, Logan with more the homer take by default, not by any of his biases. He's a true Mississippi man by heart. So, obviously his perspective come with unique, takes that we not gonna have. And you two hit on a lot of good points that a lot of the talking heads, the Fine Bombs and Brooke Austins of the worlds have already hit on and, did their due diligence on, especially with the calendar. They screwed everybody over with the way that they, set this calendar up. The students, the athletes, the coaches, everyone involved is kind of playing on the back nine when it gets to portal time. The portal is really what dictates everything now, truthfully. The portal and signing day is what dictates everything. So you guys did a great job covering all that, but I kind of wanted to take an angle on this. And I wanted my angle to be based around, I think it would serve Ole Miss the best by appreciating the situation and knowing that this was a big dog move. You had a big dog hire in Lane Kiffin, and he had an actual tenure at your school. He didn't just pit stop you. It wasn't 1 or 2 years. How many seasons was it, Logan? 6, right?
Yeah.
That's a legitimate tenure. Granted, he didn't lift any trophies with Ole Miss, but as you and every other Ole Miss, no matter where they sit on the spectrum of how they're disappointed in this situation, how disappointed they are, because everyone's disappointed. It's just a matter of how much. But no matter where anyone falls on that, it seems like everyone is unanimous about the fact that Lane brought y'all's greatest team. And that just is what it is. And I think it would serve Ole Miss the best by saying, you know what? We had Lane for 6 seasons, and the inevitable happened. There's going to be a lot of teams in this conference that poke, prod, and talk shit about us, but they will never even have Lane. Missouri will never have that type of a coach. Florida's talking shit. It might be another decade until them fuckers have somebody as good as Lane. So Ole Miss, I think they'd be served best by saying, you know what? We finally played with the big boys. Granted, we're not one of the schools that's an ultimate landing spot yet. But how do you can't get there without starting with someone like that. You can't. Other schools just struck luck. The Kurt Signetti shit, that's perfect spot, perfect timing. You can feast in the Big Ten depending on where you're at. We're not going to get into all that. That's a whole nother expansive dialogue. But I wanted my take to be different because I really do feel like if Ole Miss sits back and reaps from the positives of this situation, meaning the recruits that are going to inevitably come to y'all now because y'all have beaten programs that are out recruiting y'all on a consistent basis just 5 years ago. Y'all have beaten them consistently now for 5 years. So now y'all are going to have a different caliber of recruit coming through that door now, whether Lane is there or not. And I think y'all can benefit from gaining from that experience and ultimately trying to do the long play. If Golden is down to stay there for a year or two, while y'all truly invest in a legitimate coaching search, whether it is just throwing an example out there, offering Freeman or Lanning the opportunity to become a first-time SEC coach, is that something that y'all want to do? Because we're willing to give y'all that pathway now. Y'all don't got to wait for someone to get fired. Y'all don't got to wait for an Iron Bowl or the outcome of this. Ole Miss has the opportunity to do that now because they don't need a coach right now. You can wait till next year or the further. And I think Ole Miss, I'm going to cut myself off now because I know I'm rambling, but I really do feel like in the long run, if Ole Miss doesn't choose to be salty and chooses to reap the benefits from this and move like a big dog from this point forward, this is the beginning of having the track record to be able to do that. And I think y'all better for it, man. So Logan, I think you taking it as positively as you can. And at this point, you just got to cross your fingers, like you said, that Pete Golden can hold down that defense and y'all can just continue to recruit really well on offense. And hopefully Trinidad stays. Everything from there, man, I think that's a positive. That's as positive as a setup as anyone can have. Keep recruiting good on both sides of the line of scrimmage and keep getting them good-ass receivers in there. Y'all really I'm not trying to be an asshole by saying this. Y'all kind of reminded me of a baby LSU while Lane was there because y'all be having dog-ass receivers, a good explosive offense, recruiting well on the trenches now. And I think that's the pathway for y'all, but I know we got to push.
I will say this: Ole Miss has never had bad wide receivers. Our problem is always on defense, never offense.
No, I ain't mean it like that, Logan. But y'all have had like the leading receiver in the SEC like 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like on some.
You could probably say 5 or 6 times the last 10 years if we're being honest. Hugh Freeze had a lot of good wide receivers too. Hugh Freeze had some dogs in there. Laquan Treadwell, Dante Moncrief. He recruited AJ Brown, DK Metcalf.
I'll give you that. So no, and I ain't mean it. I ain't mean it as no slight.
No, I know. Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, that's wide receiver offense. Period is a normal to me. Having great running backs like Judkins and Lacey. Now that's where he kind of separated the offense, in my opinion. He made it more diverse versus just straight air raid.
I want to add just a few things here to wrap this thing up. First off, I don't, like Tripp said, I don't really blame anybody's at fault. Sometimes you're just in a bad situation, no matter what it is, right? You as an athletic director and Keith Carter, you've got to get ready for next season. You guys are, like Logan's pointed out, we're double-digit win team now. That's what we expect, right? Kiffin was the catalyst for that, obviously, but now you're stuck in the playoffs. You've got to finish that out. I think I don't blame Keith Carter for saying, hey, you can't coach the rest of this. If he's going to, and don't take these literally, I'm just naming places. If he's going to Kansas or if he's going to UCLA, that's one thing, right? If Kirby Smart leaves for Florida and Georgia's in the playoffs, they're not letting him coach that. They're not. You don't get to go to a rival and keep coaching, and probably inevitably people are going to follow Lane Kiffin from LSU or from Ole Miss to LSU. That's going to happen. And you as an athletic director, you have to step your foot in there and stop it. Also, in Lane Kiffin's perspective, like we've all alluded to, this calendar is really unfair. I think there should be one spring portal, one portal in the spring. Don't talk to any coaches while the season's going. Wait till the day after the national championship. That way, Lane Kiffin gets to enjoy his run, what he's helped put together, finish it out, and if he wants to take the job, he's still got the chance to do that. So I think if I had to just draw up a fix, that would do it. But again, we've also alluded to LSU is, a blue blood of all blue bloods. They're one of the places, and when I say a place is a better program, right, is the logo does the recruiting for you. Brian Kelly left LSU, he got fired. I don't think that anybody has decommitted from there because they don't care. And he wasn't a recruiting monster as it was, but those kids from Louisiana, obviously they care about the Saints. I can't say that, but LSU is like the Superman logo. Like that's what they see it as, right? And now Lane Kiffin, he has a top 5 state in high school football all to himself. Like I said, in Florida, you got to battle that with 2 other premier programs in your own state. LSU, you don't have that. You've still got the prowess of, hey, I'm a quarterback whisperer. People want to follow me. These transfer quarterbacks want to follow me. So that prowess that he's got, where he has arguably the best recruiting hub in the country, and he's carries the cachet of being Lane Kiffin, I mean, it's a slam dunk for him. I just hate that the way that the sport is, how unsustainable it is as a coach, how it affects him. I was telling Trip earlier today, it would not surprise me if like a Kirby Smart isn't coaching 8 years from now, maybe even less. Just because this sport, the way that you have to constantly, and this is assuming that nothing changes and it's at this rate, at this, like, it's not going to be sustainable for coaches. You're not going to have your Joe Paternos and your Nick Sabans, maybe even Kirk Ferentz's, people who stay places forever. This sport is the way it's going. It's not built for that. And I really hate that that's what took a toll on this situation. You know, I was going to add a point in there, but it kind of just goes back to what I'm saying. But yeah, I really hate that, you know, the way it impacts both situations. But Trip, I want to, the point you said, he doesn't care about money, or it's not about the money. Do I think maybe he was totally clueless about his contract? No, I'm very doubtful of that. But Urban Meyer said it. He said he's been in situations like that. When you're at that point, money really isn't a thing. I mean, obviously, when you know you're going to go somewhere and get a pay increase, hey, that's awesome, right? But at this point in his career, where he's made so much money, it's not like he's going from making $500K to 10 million. You know what I mean? Like, he's making less than 50% higher of what he's currently making. So I really do believe that this is a place that did have to be the right fit for him mentally. And LSU, again, like Logan said it earlier, there's maybe 3 jobs that if that opens up, you're not taking it. I always say if you vacated every spot in the country, every job had to get filled. LSU is going to be one of the first 3 or 4 to get filled. So it's going to be very exciting. I mean, obviously, you know, that's the big one, but John Summerall goes to Florida, which I know Florida fans are not happy, but I think that's kind of the Dan Lanning, Kirby Smart, defensive wizard, extreme attention to detail. Alex Golish goes to Auburn. Will Stein, Oregon's offensive coordinator, goes to Kentucky. I mean, there is a lot that went on this past weekend. But like we also talked about, a lot of extensions that kind of took people like we thought, like Drinkwater, maybe Clark Lee, maybe, you know, whoever, take them there. Another one, something we talked about earlier, guys. I know they're saying Jimmy Sexton is, you know, kind of the boogeyman of college football, if you will, because he's represents so many coaches. Penn State is an absolute shambles. So they were about to get BYU's coach. I can't remember his name. BYU's head coach, they were trying to get him. He's removed himself as a potential candidate. They've got 5 recruits. They've lost guys that are flipping to Virginia Tech because James Franklin's there. I mean, we talked about it when it happened, and we thought it was going to be a massive mistake. I know I doubled and tripled down on that. That is looking so bad. It's a bad time to be Penn State.
Joey, quick thing I want to throw in here, because you were just talking about recruits that have flipped. This was actually something I was going to bring up, which touches exactly where we're at right now. So since the firings of all these coaches that have happened throughout the season, this was as of last week, so this could have changed, and I think it has a little bit. But as of last week, LSU has only had 1 commit flip since Brian Kelly's been fired. Penn State has had 19.
Good. See, that's the coach recruiting versus the logo recruiting. And obviously, we know Brian Kelly wasn't very well liked, but God, that James Franklin, man, and now he's somewhere where he's gonna have a Frank Beamer tenure, who was at Virginia Tech forever. He's gonna be able to stay there as long as he wants.
One thing I want to jump in and say too, because we're talking about recruiting a lot. So one thing, talking about LSU recruits, and that's also why I think this is a great fit for Kiffin, because Kiffin's whole time at Ole Miss, people like there's like one guy in each class that he's responsible for. He was responsible for Judkins. He was responsible for Trinidad. Like, he was responsible for, who was it? There was one more guy that, like,
Dart.
He was yes, but Dart wasn't like sought after though. You know what I mean? Neither was Trinidad. It was more like a diamond in the rough. But like, Dart was kind of one of those guys I feel like doesn't fit the narrative I'm going for as far as like in the rough. Like, people didn't know about him. Like, Judkins burst out of the scenes. No one expected.
Oh, got you. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Trinidad, no one expected. I mean, no one expected Trinidad. Like, things like that is more so what I'm trying to hint at. But like, Kiffin had that one dark horse, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, every year, where like literally for years, ever since Golding's got there, Golding gets a lot of credit for our recruiting. And I know our recruiting classes have not been great, but it's also like we have a head coach who doesn't sink his teeth into recruiting. And I'm not, once again, not trying to talk shit about Kiffin, but him going to LSU makes sense for the recruiting he does. Like you said, he can sit up there, look pretty, and say, I'm Lane Kiffin and I coach LSU Tigers, and that's going to do the recruiting. You can't really do that at Ole Miss. Like, not for these, like, 5 stars, you know? You can get some guys doing that at Ole Miss, but it's going to take a little bit more dirty work than just sit there, look pretty, and say, here's the University of Mississippi. We're pretty. Come to us. Like, it's not that easy. And a lot of reports have been saying it, and it's people giving Pete Golding credit for years now. So I do think that, like, promoting him from within, I think Graham touched on it. I did not expect a promotion from within. The initial rumor was Joe Judge was going to take over as an interim, and Pete Golding and his defensive staff would stay put. So I was a little shocked about that. But as far as recruiting goes, I think recruiting, as far as high school recruiting, we should not be affected a ton. Where we will be affected a ton, obviously, is the transfer portal. And that could be with a lot of players leaving this year, but as well as Lane Kiffin attacked the transfer portal. That's one thing Kiffin was great at, is retooling in the portal. So I think that'll be interesting. But also, Saban on game day was talking about LSU is a place that kind of recruits itself, and recruiting is one of the things he was talking about, the difference in LSU and Ole Miss. But it's like Hugh Freeze, who – in a nutshell, didn't do much of anything. He had 1 10-win season at Ole Miss, which is great for Ole Miss standards back then, but, like, in a nutshell, didn't do much of anything. Lane Kiffin had multiple top 10 recruiting classes at Ole Miss. Hugh Freeze did. I think I said Lane. Hugh Freeze did. So if Hugh Freeze can go to Ole Miss and recruit top 10 recruiting classes, you can recruit at Ole Miss. You're not fooling me. Like, so I thought Saban's take on that was kind of strange. Like, historically, maybe not. But when you're as dominant of a coach as Lane Kiffin, if you really sink your teeth in recruiting, I think we easily could have had some top 10 classes along with top 10 transfer portals and really made a thing. But it's give and take. I understand that. But, yeah, I think at Ole Miss you can have top 10 classes. It's been proven in the past. So I don't know if I agreed with the whole, like, at Ole Miss you have to retool in the transfer portal. I don't think he had to. He chose to is what I think the difference was. But it's really kind of splitting hairs. But recruiting, though, I wanted to just touch on Golding. Apparently is a huge recruiter at Ole Miss. So, like, it does make me happy that they promoted the guy putting in the dirty work, you know.
I mean, if you're a Bama, you got to learn to recruit. There's no way around it, especially in the Saban tenure. Real quick, speaking of recruiting, Graham, you funny enough, I was literally looking for this because I got an ESPN notification, and I went and looked it up. Jared Curtis officially has decommitted, per his words, from Georgia, the number 1 player in this class. Per 24/7 composite, has flipped from Georgia to Vanderbilt. To me, as soon as Clark Lee got that extension, kind of felt like it was, just a moment away. If you guys don't know, today it got leaked from so his original signing day was supposed to be Friday. He moved it back because he wanted to get it done from his state championship, or moved it forward, I guess. So he moved it to tomorrow originally, and then today Hayes Fawcett and Steve Wilfong announced that he had told them, believe Wilfong said Georgia coaches just told him, apparently, from what I understand, it was somebody in his camp leaked it and got him released the information. But so he's going to Vanderbilt. And according to Georgia insiders, nothing about money. I was telling Trip this earlier, nothing to do with money. It's all about wanting to play year 1. Kind of a crazy strategy to me, but also I've never been that talented at anything and that much better than everybody. So I simply can't say whether or not he's right or wrong for that. But I have seen this process happen in sports and it not be the success story, especially in college football. And Vanderbilt plays Georgia next year. So, that game could have extra little juice on it. But, yeah, that's definitely did not see that coming.
It's important to point out that the kid's from Nashville, too.
Yes.
That's what I was about to say.
100%.
I was about to say the same thing. And then also with the success of Pavia, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're from Nashville. Pavia's about to leave, had all that success. Clark Lee extends. There's multiple factors where it's like I could kind of see this.
A lot of people are talking about him, their OC getting poached, though. So, as a head coach, so who knows?
He said in this little note here that he was trying to. The decision came down to what he wanted to do versus what his parents wanted him to do. So obviously, his parents wanted him to go to Georgia, but he wanted to stay in Nashville.
Well, his agent also wanted him to go to Georgia. From what I've seen, I read a long post from Rowdy Nabulsi, but we'll see.
I don't blame the kid.
Say what?
I don't blame the kid.
Hey, if you got that much confidence in your talent, hey, do what you got to do. But yeah, so we'll just have to see how time lets that one play out. But let's move on to a little bit of a rivalry weekend. So, not as many fights or flag plantings as we saw last year. As I told y'all last week, and the three of you know, obviously, I went to the Clemson South Carolina game. It was incredible. The environment, walking around, seeing all the Clemson fans, had their little tailgate set up, all the barking back and forth. It was awesome. You could feel. I mean, it was a noon kickoff. Get there, it's super cold in the morning. I was like, this is what football's about right here. Two teams that just hate each other, have nothing to play for other than hate. It's cold weather. So that was really fun. Friday, watched a bunch of games with two of my comrades on this panel. So that was a good time. And, after, because it looked like Ole Miss and Mississippi State got in a scrabble, if you will. I don't know what you want to call it. They squabbled just a little bit. So I was like, oh, man, is this the kind of, rivalry weekend we're going to get? And wasn't really. But had some really good games. Georgia and Georgia Tech was a bit of a tough watch, but Dogs pulled it out. Extend their win streak to like 9 against Tech. So that was good to see. But I think the biggest game ultimately, and what's going to cause a lot of discussion here, is Texas pulling off I'm not going to call pulling off the upset because they're like 10 rankings apart. But Texas defeats the undefeated Texas A&M, and that is undone a whole can of worms for the college football playoff. So shout out to Texas, though. I mean, they've beaten 3 teams that are in the top 10. They've beaten Vanderbilt, who's ranked right behind them, it looks like, after the new rankings. So Sark has been on his media tour. I've probably listened to like 3 or 4 interviews. I listened to one on radio this morning where he's saying, oh, well, I have to rethink the history of my program. We're getting penalized for scheduling Ohio State. Have you guys ever seen a team get penalized for scheduling a game? Just scheduling a game?
No.
Or do they get penalized for losing the game?
It's usually the results.
Yes, and that has been driving me bonkers. It could be the and again, this has nothing to do with Sark. That's what he's supposed to do as his head coach. I've got to make my case for us to get in the playoffs. That's what he has to do. However, the media reactions, the fan reactions saying, oh, we getting penalized, we shouldn't have scheduled this, blah, 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 blah. You don't get penalized in this sport for scheduling tough games. You lose 3 games in a season, no matter what conference you're in. You can't argue with a committee about anything. You can't, like they say, don't leave it in the judge's hands. When you lose 3 games, that's exactly what you do. When you lose a stinky game to Florida, that's what happens. You get beat by 4 touchdowns against Georgia, that's what happens. You don't score 2, you score 1 touchdown against Ohio State. I mean, granted, they kind of outgained them and everything. But you lose that game, you don't get to lose 3 games and then play pity party to me. I hate that. That drives me insane. But I'm sure you guys have more lovely insights than me. So please fire off. How do we feel? Either about Texas, whether or not they should be a playoff team, etc.
I was gonna say if y'all cool with letting me fire off first, Joey, how they driving you insane? You driving me insane with this comparison between. Well, I won't call it a comparison, but maybe this beatdown that you giving my boy Sark here. Let me give y'all a little example, just like Logan gave us an example earlier, man. One guy went to Opera in his prime, bagged 5 dimes, but went home empty-handed 3 times. One guy was at Electric Cowboy and bagged 9 6s in a row. And we're sitting here talking
Here
about
you go.
who get the baddest bitches. Like, come on, bro. Like, it's not even like, what is we talking about, bro? Like, it's of course people gonna sit here and talk about the fact Texas got 3 losses, but who's got better wins than them? Like, let's just be real. Like, barring 2 teams, who's better wins than Texas? We want to see the best teams play each other. The best way to do that is to put the teams that beat the good teams the most frequently in the competition. We're not talking about some egregious record. We're talking about one loss more than a plethora of teams that we've sat here and nitpicked talking about they don't even deserve to be in the damn thing. I'm not sitting here saying I'm gonna die on the hill that Texas deserves to be in, because obviously we pushed their shit back just 3 weeks ago. So when you lose, we've talked about how that matters. But when you win, shouldn't that matter more, especially when you do it in that fashion? You beat number one in that way. And I know we don't have any A&M homers in this chat, but I've seen a couple people trying to push a rhetoric that game was close, or how games feel when it's that. Let me tell you something, man. When Texas made their mind up, they bent y'all all the way over, and that's all.
That game felt close when it was 0-0.
I'm not going to stretch it. I'm not going to drag it, but there was literally nothing that y'all could do for the last 17 minutes of that game, and you know that that's the truth. So, okay, we're not going to expand on that, but that's all I'm going to say about Texas. Like, if there is a team that's going to be the asterisk for this, campaign, I do honestly think it needs to be them. If any of us had to play A&M when they played them, and we beat them the way that they did, and we missed out on this playoffs. I know we Georgia fans, we missed out on the 23 playoffs, but that was a 4-seed playoff. This is a 12-team bracket, and you just beat number one, and you beat Vandy, who's right behind you. I don't know. Or right in front of you, pardon me, excuse me.
I get the valid points. I think the strength of schedule is one thing, but when you've got more losses than the 10 teams in front of you, I don't buy that personally. That's how I view it. Because at the end of the day, the number of wins and losses have to mean something.
I think that makes more sense when it's only us playing each other, Joey. But some of us are playing cupcakes and some of us are playing bulldog. Like, some of us are actually having to play real teams. It'd be different if that was the case and we all played each other or teams similar to each other's competition. But if it was a smaller pool and that was the records and that was the case, I see what you're getting at. But we know that all records aren't the same when we're looking at this drop sheet, bro. Like, a lot of them 2-loss teams, how many losses would they have if they even had to dip into the SEC two times this season in an out-of-conference game, even against the likes of South Carolina, Arkansas. Arkansas only lost by one, possession most of their games, and that was our worst team. I don't know. I know I'm beating a dead horse.
No, I mean, I get it. The points you're making are 100% correct. But okay, so are you going to gripe? The gripe would not be here if they beat Ohio State. The result should not dictate your notion. It's the principle of it. You need to be either pissed that you scheduled Ohio State, or you need to be pissed that you lost. If you win this game, none of this is a topic. That's where my frustration comes from.
And if you play Ohio State like you played A&M, you would have beat them that day.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. And
I legitimately feel that way. And but I agree with your point.
And again, but the schedule's so weird because I don't like to say, like, yeah, you win this game, but like, you're getting beaten the fourth quarter by 3 touchdowns by Mississippi State. You know what I mean? You got to go to overtime with Kentucky and you almost lose that one. So like, it's, again, I'm glad I get to critique it and not make the decisions.
I'm gonna jump in here and put my angle on this because I agree with both of you in different ways. For Graham's points about, like, is Texas capable to beat most of the teams that are in front of them? To me, I don't know. It depends on what Texas is going to show up that Saturday. They've been extremely inconsistent all year long. Like Joey just said, that was going to be one of my main points. I'm not even giving them a hard time about losing to Florida. Florida's a very talented roster, and they were very healthy for that game, including all their wide receivers that have been out the last half of this season. That defense is an animal. I'm not even worried about that Florida game as much as everybody's hanging on that one. You went to overtime with Kentucky, and you went to overtime with Mississippi State, 2 of the bottom 3 schools in your conference.
Trip, that ring looking slick, baby.
Do what?
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh. On top of that, like, yes, you beat Texas A&M, right? I'm not taking anything away from them from beating Texas A&M. But I think what they just did was expose Texas A&M to what they actually are. Texas A&M, we talked about this last episode. They played the bottom half of the SEC this year for their schedule. They never really got battle tested like we've talked about all these teams all year long. So I'm not saying A&M's a bad team. I think A&M could whoop the shit out of a lot of teams, and I'd be scared to play them as a Georgia fan if they're hot. But we don't know what we're getting out of this Texas team. If they were doing this consistently, we're not even having this conversation. But that's the thing, is you don't know what you're getting out of Arch Manning every Saturday. You don't know what kind of play calling Sark is going to pull out of his back pocket. And to me, if you don't lose to Ohio State, or you don't lose to Florida, or you don't get your fucking shit kicked in by Georgia, you're not having to cry. They're on Twitter right now begging for media companies to plead for them because they're saying that the viewership is going to be down for the playoff if they're not in. Like, bro, win the games you're supposed to win. Nobody, if you even just beat Florida, nobody's even dogging you for losing to Ohio State by 1 touchdown. But guess what? The team that's right above them in Miami has a common opponent with Texas, and Miami beat the dog shit out of Florida. So at that point, you're looking at common opponents, you're looking at head-to-heads. Like, I don't see a world in any time soon, especially with the format that we have where the 5 top champions get an automatic bid. That locks in 5 spots no matter what and only leaves 7 more. I do not see a world where a 3-loss team gets in this playoff ever, unless something gives where those G5 schools stop getting a chance or something else changes. But it hasn't happened yet, and I don't see them starting that shit now, because then you're starting to throw away. Like, who do you take out? Are you going to take out a possible Alabama that loses in a conference title game?
Trip, I hope you was asking me, because I got 2 teams right now that I would. I'm going to give my honest answer as a viewer, because that's all we're going to be at the end of the day. We're never going to be committee members, and we're never going to be football players. All we are consumers of the product that Disney is providing us. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe back to YouTube TV. We made the agreement. Everything's straight. Y'all get back on YouTube TV. We got that. Hey, we got that Patreon and that Disney contract on the way, twin. Y'all tap in all the way.
Hey, I got to start early right here.
Let me ask y'all something real quick. Keep it all the way a beam. Would you rather see Texas play Texas A&M again, or Miami play Texas A&M again?
I think those are the only 2 schools you can make an argument for that last spot, personally. And that's the only school that I could see them flipping somebody for. But BYU, who would be getting knocked out after going to a conference championship, Alabama, who would be getting knocked out for going to a conference championship, Notre Dame, who has 2 losses by a combined 4 points in their first 2 games this season, both to ranked opponents. I'm not seeing any of that shit personally. Like, something would have to absolutely collapse ahead of them to make that even remotely possible. So I just don't see it, because to me, it's not, would Texas make some shake in the playoff? That's a no-brainer. Texas is a very good football team and can beat a lot of teams in this playoff. But who are you going to punish above them that's justified? That's where I can't agree with it.
I don't mind punishing the team. I don't mind punishing the team that they beat head to head, but I'm not gonna stretch that point, because I'm cool with you and Joey got it because y'all actually proved it. And that's why I'm gonna say y'all got it. It's not me saying it as a sucker. It's not me saying it to be salty. Y'all do got it. But what I'm gonna say is, it's a problem when A&M just got their shit pushed back and they so far ahead of them. And Oklahoma lost to them. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, whether it's a week from now, 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, I don't see a world where Oklahoma beat Texas in this season. I do not.
I'm gonna pass it to Logan here real quick, but Graham, it's funny you say that, because Trip and I think the angle that we're taking on it,
that offense is deplorable.
Hold up, it just you're right. I agree with that, but there's simply no objective criteria where you can look at the parameters of rankings, schedule, where any of these teams above them have a reason to get out. 100%.
I'm talking barbershop
100%.
shit.
Hold on.
I'm talking barbershop
100%
shit.
True that I think Texas is beating Texas Tech, Indiana, Oregon, a lot of teams up there. But that's what the regular season is your chance to prove that you're supposed to be there. When you've got more losses than everybody in front of you, it's hard to make that argument. Logan, your turn.
I'm going to be completely honest. When I look at this playoffs, there's one team. There's 2 teams that stick out to me, and that's Notre Dame and Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt should be in over Notre Dame. I 100% believe that. Notre Dame, yes, they've lost to 2 arguably playoff contenders or playoff spots, but also you could say the same thing for Vanderbilt. And then if you want to compare direct schedules, let's be honest, Vanderbilt has a much better resume than Notre Dame. Just the Tennessee win alone is better than any Notre Dame win. And that's just my honest opinion. I think Notre Dame, once again, is getting in because they're Notre Dame, and I can't stand that. I would 100% rather see Vandy in. I think Vandy deserves it more. They've lost to only Alabama and Texas, who Texas is trying to argue to get in. I don't think Texas deserves to be in. Did Texas have a tough schedule? Yes, but for the same reason like Tripp's saying, Texas doesn't deserve to get in because you don't know what Texas you're going to get. You lost 3 games. I don't agree with Joey in the sense of you schedule Ohio State, but you lost. All you got to do is win. It's like, okay, but if you're scheduling a number 1 team in the nation, you should get a little bit of leeway compared to teams who are out there scheduling Charlotte.
That's scheduled 10 years ago, though. It's not like they just scheduled it last year.
Not that long ago. Even if you schedule Ohio State 10 years ago, Ohio State's been good for 10 years. Citadel and Charlotte and all these other schools have not. Like, regardless.
I'm not going to give you brownie points for something you did a decade ago during Obama.
You schedule it like 4 years out, but it's not a decade. Regardless, Ohio State is Ohio State. It's not like Ohio State just got good. So even when they scheduled that game, they knew Ohio State was good. That's my whole point. And also, everyone preaches strength of schedule, and that's where it's like Texas had – and Sark's doing his job. You're going to partition. But you know who Texas really – all in all, like I'm not going to keep repeating stuff that you three have basically said. But one thing that no one has said, all Texas is right now is South Carolina from last year. Like, oh, you won a couple games at the end of the year. But guess what? At the end of the year, you're the loudest 3-win team. Shut up. You're not in it, bro. Sorry. It is what it is. I appreciate the politics.
Very good call.
Shut your mouth. It's that simple, dude. Like, you lost 3 games. You are Shane Beamer from last year. You're South Carolina from last year. That's Ole Miss lost 3 games last year. We didn't partition nowhere near as hard as South Carolina. And we, dude, skull drug South Carolina at home by like 29 points. And we didn't argue and bitch the way South Carolina did. And we literally beat them head-to-head and had as many losses. And a better win because we had a Georgia win. So it's like, I don't know. It's just like, I get it. You're doing your job. And you're Texas, so you're a dominant program as far as like viewership and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if we're going to sit here and pick a playoffs based off viewership, we're doing it all wrong anyways. Like, let's be honest. Honestly, I already disagree with some of the rate. Like, I don't think Notre Dame should be in over Vandy. Vandy's going to get shafted. Vandy's fan base should be the most mad. But the thing is, Vandy has the smallest fan base, so you're not going to hear about it. And that's no disrespect to Vandy, but this is an anomaly season for them. I look at this honestly. No team that's not named Ohio State, Indiana, and Georgia should be ranked ahead of Ole Miss. Maybe I'm a homer. We have a better resume than Texas Tech and then Oregon. Oregon is getting the push about being a bigger brand, I think. Texas Tech is just kind of like sliding it at 4 because they're going to be the highest ranked like conference champion or whatever. But at the end of the day, if all like the rankings don't matter and the conference championship is what gets you the bye week, if we're just going off rankings, Ole Miss should be ahead of Texas Tech if we're giving a true ranking, like based off resume, team, stuff like that, opponents, all that. Ole Miss should be sitting at number 4 in my opinion. I know I'm biased, but Texas Tech has not played a better schedule than Ole Miss, and neither has Oregon. Oregon's best win is USC. We have beat Oklahoma and Tulane, who's probably going to be in the playoffs. So I know Tulane's had a huge win, but it's a playoff team, and at the end of the day, that's what we argue is playoff wins. So,
well, I think when you talk about Vandy, Logan, I think you make a very compelling point. But what the committee has shown is that they don't care about who you beat; they care about who you lost to.
Yeah, they lost to Alabama and Texas.
Yeah, and no. That's what I don't get. Like, I don't get because they care that they lost to A&M by X amount of points, Miami by very low margins. I don't agree with it, but I think that they've proven that that's their criteria that they care about. Well, I think now that you say it, I don't see any reason why Vandy shouldn't be over Notre Dame, and with the head-to-head, I don't understand. Which I mean, with the okay, let me get my brain together and let it stop scrambling. Miami and Notre Dame with the head-to-head, right? Miami's got that, and I know what somebody's going to say. Oh, well, they lost to so-and-so. So you care more about who they lost to than who they beat. Not you as in Logan, or you as in you three, but
and that's what makes it sticky is because like when we're initially speaking, I'm like, Miami should be in over Notre Dame, but Miami has some terrible losses. SMU, you should not be losing that game. Like, you really should not be losing to SMU if you're Miami. So it's like, that's where everything that's where I'm like, Joey, thank the Lord I get to critique it and I'm not making the decisions. Because right off rip, if you say Miami or Notre Dame, I'm like Miami. But then you're like, well, you know, Miami has these losses. Notre Dame's losses look better. But then it's like, when you talk about head to head, it's a cluster. Like, if we're being honest, it really is. But also, who has Notre Dame beat? Like, that's my thing. And that's why I think Vandy deserves it over. Because, like, honestly, when it comes to Texas or Notre Dame, Texas should probably get in over Notre Dame as well, because Texas at least has beat Oklahoma, who is in the playoffs, and they're pretty much a lock in the playoffs. And now they beat A&M, who's also a lock in the playoffs. So it's like, you have 2 playoff caliber wins, but then at the same time, it's like you beat Vandy, who also I'm saying should be in over Notre Dame. Like, it gets tricky, dude. It really does. But Notre Dame doesn't have a good win. Like, they beat, I think, USC and Pittsburgh, who were ranked, but it's like, one of those wins, really. Like, I'm not giving Oregon credit for USC. I'm not giving Notre Dame credit for USC. Notre Dame is getting in because of their brand. I solely believe that. Put it this way, if Texas had the same record as Vanderbilt, the same schedule and everything, Texas would be sitting at like 5. And we all know that. Like, if Texas's only 2 losses were to a fringe playoff team and then a guaranteed playoff team who's playing in a championship, then we all know Texas would 100% be sitting at 5 or 6. Like, they would.
You don't even have to say Texas. If that's the other SEC team in Tennessee, they're
honestly,
in that.
If it's any other SEC school not named Kentucky, Arkansas, Mississippi State, basically, you know what I mean? Like, it's like the top half of the SEC could have that same Vanderbilt schedule and they would get in over. Vanderbilt and it sucks because Vanderbilt shouldn't have to have a brand to get in. It's almost like, you know, like the NBA voting, like there's a player who like maybe should win an award, whether it be MVP or whatever, but that first year they don't really get the respect they deserve from voters. And then when they have the second year being like that, they get more respect. It kind of feels like that. It's like, you shouldn't have to have 2 years to get the respect you deserve the first year. It should be a year-to-year basis. You shouldn't be thinking about, oh, well, Texas as a program is higher and they're a brand. Like, no, we shouldn't. None of that should matter when it comes to picking the best teams with the best resumes. Do I think, on Graham's point, I do think Texas is one of the best 12 teams in the country. But unfortunately, their resume falls short because they lost 3 games. But that's also part of Texas's, you could say they should have beat Ohio State as number 1. But also it's like, well, Texas wasn't pussy. They fucking booked the number 1 team in the country. Whether it was 4 years ago or not, Ohio State has been a top 5 school for 15 years now. Like, they really have. Like, we all know that. So it's like, as much as it benefits Texas to book that game, because if you win it, you're a lock in. But it benefits you to book the game, yes. But then as soon as you lose it, it's also like, I understand Texas is a point of like, why the hell did I book this game then? Like, I'd rather go play Charlotte and steamroll them than if the win is what matters. So it's like, I get Texas's side. I get the people who are against Texas's side. It's sticky, but I mean, at the end of the day, all I got to really say, I know I've rambled, but Texas is the South Carolina from last year. That's my point of view on Texas. Like, I have no other better way to put it, honestly.
I mean, this unfortunately is not black and white, right? There is so much gray area.
It never is.
There's so much gray area with this commit. I was watching Urban Meyer on Collar Coward show yesterday, and he said, and they both said it, and it kind of made me think, like, I don't know how you could do it, but he's like, we should get rid of the committee. Because they want to find a way to make it this objective. Hey, we have X, Y, and Z qualifications, whatever that could be, but they don't like it sounds good. It sounds good in theory, but in practice, it's not what you're doing, right? Logan, like you said, I mean, Notre Dame, I'm looking right now, has got the 42nd ranked schedule. Vanderbilt's got 22. So, I mean, they're higher in that. So, I mean, if that's the case, they should definitely get the nod. But it's this weird balance where I think college football's at, in this playoff system where they're trying to find a way. They don't want to just gift the SEC and Big Ten X amount of automatic qualifiers per year. And at least people agreed. Yeah. But when you put a 9-3 team in because of who they are, I mean, obviously, they play in the SEC. You're giving the nod to the SEC. Hey, you don't have to have as many. You can have more losses than all but, I guess, one team who was in the playoff, and you could still make it in. I think if you put Texas in, that's part of setting that precedent. It shouldn't be it shouldn't be a brand because you've done good the past 5 years. We're putting you in. No, if you deserve it this year, you deserve it. So, and there's a lot of really, really good teams. I mean, it is what it is,
Dude, I'm gonna just jump in. This will be the last thing I have to say about this, and we can keep it moving. But let's be honest. Thank God college football is a good product because it is ran like shit. Let's just be honest. It is ran so poor. Like, thank the Lord it is a good product, because why do we have a committee picking regardless? Why do we decide the rankings? Why aren't people in the playoffs just based off performance? And I get there's 120 teams, 40, whatever it is, something crazy.
You got to have rankings. Like, there's too many teams.
You got to have rankings. But the thing is, like, any other sport, dude, it's like even basketball for college. It's just based on, like, your record. Like, it's like, and granted, basketball's a little easier because you got 60-something teams. So you're obviously going to have at least the best 15 teams and whatever. And you can't really do that with football. It's physical, blah, blah. But it's like, look at this. How long have we been doing the portal at this point? Like 6 years? 7? It's been really dominant. So why have we not fixed that yet? How, like, NCAA just drags their feet on everything to do with football. Like, whether it's sanctions, whether it's fixing a schedule that is absolutely horrendous, dude. Whether it's fixing the playoffs, which we all knew 4 teams wasn't enough. We knew that for how many years? Was 10 years? They were the 4-team playoff. Why did it take so long? Like, why do we drag our feet? NCAA, be glad that you got 18-year-olds who are playing their asses off, and now up to 25-year-olds because of your new rules. So be glad you got a 7-year window of athletes who are out there dominating and putting on a show for your product, because you are doing a very poor job of everything you're doing. Everything you're doing is wrong. Everything the athletes and schools are doing pretty much are correct. So it's like, my biggest thing that I just wanted to jump in and say real quick, I won't ramble too long, but thank the Lord we have a good product, because we have a terrible commission and whatever else that's running the system. Like, it's bad.
I got a 2-part question for y'all. It's just a one-word answer for each one. Okay. Do any fans, not just us, because, I mean, we've all given our share of complaints and gripes, do any fans complain about their sport more than college football? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
I don't know.
For sure.
Really?
Well, are we talking about only the leading sports, or because I would say UFC, but other than that,
yeah. Okay, so
major 4 sports.
Yeah, we'll say major 4.
Maybe baseball because Rob Manfred sucks.
Well, but they complain about him, not the sport itself, right? So I would say college football fans complain more than any, and it's not even close to me. But is there the most to complain about in this sport? For me, absolutely yes.
I saw this guy on Twitter that created a new playoff format, and he was like explaining how there's always like those 4 to 6 teams that are on the bubble of this new playoff format, and how there should be a play-in like the NBA that'll settle all debates. Is those last teams are playing for a play-in spot and like a little mini tournament before the games kick off to get those last couple spots in, or who knows, boys? We might see a 16-team playoff in the next few years. I mean, I think that they're under contract for this until the end of next year.
I think it's 2028.
Okay, so yeah, 2 more years. So I would not be shocked if it ends up being a 16-team. And I know people are going to say like, oh, well, then you're going to argue about who's 15 and who's 16. But I really do think once you get past that 15 mark, it's pretty clear and cut obvious who you can get in and who you can kick out. But
they said that about 12 too, though. I'm just saying.
100%. And that's how it's always going to be, though. It's going to keep. They could put 35 teams in, and it's going to be, man, I don't know. Syracuse is on the bubble. You know what I mean?
My thing is, I do agree with Tripp. They're going to expand it because it's more money for them, and they're greedy bastards. They don't care about the product they're putting out. But once you put out 16 teams, I do think the product goes down tremendously. We saw it last year in the first round, dude. Those games were not good. Like, let's be honest. Those games were not good. And that is what I think they should be like that's what they should be focused on. It's like before we expand, let's make sure the playoffs themselves are worth watching. The first round of the playoffs last year were terrible. Like Ohio State and Tennessee, I thought would be such a good game. Boy, was I wrong. Ohio State drug them. Like that was the one game I was so happy for, like so excited for, and I was so wrong about it. Like
Yeah.
Before we go to 16 teams, let's make sure the 12-team playoffs are fun to watch and good and enjoyable. Like, yeah, I get it. It's more money, and obviously the more games they put on TV, the more money they're going to make. But for real football fans like us four, no one wanted to watch that shit, dude. After the second quarter, we're turning it off. We're like, all right.
Nico did this. In the next 40 minutes of my life, I could have put all my nieces and nephews to sleep to that TV, man.
Dude, me and Trip were watching at a guy's house, at our buddy's house.
You remember he cut it to like one score and was like,
Oh yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Me and Trip were watching that at our buddy's house, who's has a house full of Tennessee fans. Man, actually I was gonna say something really offensive, but
They were turning the TV off,
it was
Graham.
torture. It was
Before halftime. They were cutting that. They were arguing over it because it kept flipping the channel.
Yeah. But let's go ahead and move on to conference championship weekend coming up. One thing I know we talked about the college football, the calendar, makes the academic calendar not fun. But I'll tell you what, rivalry weekend and then conference championship weekend right after is such a gift, man. I love conference championship weekend. Got the Kennesaw State Owls taking on Jacksonville State. So big shout out to the Owls. By the way, I don't know if y'all heard. I think that report about Jerry Mack, the Kennesaw State guy going to South Florida. I think it was confirmed fake. I don't think that's real.
Hey, can we run through and quickly pick all of these, but obviously only talk in depth about really the two?
Yeah.
Or three. There's three that probably need to get talked in depth about, but I feel like we should at least quickly pick the non-important ones. And by quickly pick, I mean like, hey guys, who y'all got, Troy or James Madison? I got James Madison.
All right, yeah. Here we can run that real quick.
All right, everybody got quiet. Fuck me.
Tough crowd. Tough crowd.
I was gonna.
My bad. You know what? Hey, screw these.
Because my goal.
I didn't know if he was asking rhetoricals yet, or if we was actually starting. That's my bad.
No, because I was listening. I was gonna say talk about Georgia, Bama, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas Tech, and then pick them. That was my thought.
I say we pick them and then talk about those three in more in depth at the end.
All right, here. Let me share it with you then. It's just Logan runs the show now.
Hey, buddy. Just
I'm lying, man.
Flying by the seat of my pants. I told you
That's
I woke up a minute before we started.
That's okay.
Took a good nap, you know.
All right. So let me see if I can. Never mind. Let me not do that. That's very vain of me.
Handsome devil. Yeah, I like that last view better, bro.
Yeah, that was very vain. Where does it go? Oh, no, I messed it up.
That Georgia big on the screen. I respect it. Oh,
no,
there we go.
I can't even get this thing pulled up now.
Oh my,
you know, that'll work.
Everywhere.
Well, I'm learning on the fly.
Boy, it was looking like Zoran off Power Rangers.
Hey, can we get the four name thing with our four names on it?
The what?
That little jewelry piece at the top. Can we get that?
Yeah, sure.
Or maybe get the 5 one and a TFU on the other.
Oh, I see. Yeah. That'd be fly.
All right,
and then we send it to all the fans. Their favorite mediocre podcasts. They write all their names host names on there. All right. So here we'll hit some quick ones. Troy James Madison. I would be lying if I said I watched a single Troy game. But James Madison, especially after Signetti took over, they've been a powerhouse. Give me James Madison.
Yeah, short and sweet. This one's going to be an ass whipping. James Madison.
Give me JMU. Shout out to my boy Josh.
Oh, yeah. Give me the guys in purple. And when I said very quick, this is exactly what I expected about the first, 5 of these games, or 4, I guess.
All right. Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State. Jack State won the in-season rivalry or in-season game. I'm taking the Owls, baby. Hootie hoo. They got a great venue manager.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick KSU because I don't want KJ to be hunting me down if I picked otherwise. So we're gonna ride KSU here.
Yeah, I was about to say KJ got my home address, so I got to pick the Owls.
Yeah, I think Homer pick all the way. For those of you who don't know, we are only I don't know, like 20 minutes from Kennesaw State would be like the average distance for all of us. So, yeah, who, baby, go Owls.
They're favored in this, by the way, 2.5-point favorites.
Let's go, baby.
Well, hey, what did they say on the college football thing? If you don't give a hoot, Kennesaw State does, or something like that.
Oh yeah. When they first put the game out, oh my gosh, yeah. All right. North Texas at Tulane. Are these two head coachless teams?
First time since 2012 that a conference championship has been coached where both teams are leaving afterwards, or both coaches are leaving afterwards.
Yeah.
They're both still coaching in these games, but after the season, they're going to.
God, being a college football coach sucks. Summerall just got off the plane. Dang. Yeah, I think Tulane's going to win this and then make the playoffs.
I'd rather watch a UFC fight night where everybody's hogtied than watch this game. So I don't really give a shit about who's in this. This is just going to determine who gets one of those last playoff spots. But I guess give me Tulane.
Trip, I don't know what you just described. But I don't think we allowed to say that on this one, bro. That's Patreon only. But what I will say is this: Summerall going to be coaching Tulane in spirit. I got them closing it out with a title for their coach who done moved on to better pastures. And like Joey said, they will be the redheaded stepchild in this year's playoff.
I'm going to say, Trip, out of all games for you to say that about, I think this is the worst one you could have said that about. This is going to be the best non-Power 4 conference game, I think. I think this game could be for real good. I'm not just saying that. North Texas has been super good this year. Their quarterback's been really good.
He just wants the Hog Ties to come out. He just wants to see some.
Yeah.
He's manifesting.
Yeah, so I think it's a wide receiver North Texas has. He was like tied with Quan Lacey with the most touchdowns in the league. They got I want to say it was a wide receiver. He's a dog. Like, he's super good. So North Texas got talent. I think Tulane's more battle tested though. So I'm going to give the edge to Tulane, and Tulane's kind of been there before. So I'm going with Tulane here. And then obviously if Tulane wins, it just makes Ole Miss's resume look better. So I'm obviously rooting for Tulane in this one to kind of boost our resume a little bit.
All right. Last one for Friday. Dan Mullins, UNLV Rebels, first year, got him in the conference championship against Boise State, who obviously really failed expectations. I think Dan Mullins has got to experience a little heartbreak in his first year. I'm taking Boise State.
UNLV is actually the underdog in this, even though they have a better record than Boise. But obviously a lot more factors into that. But I'm actually going to be rooting for Dan Mullen in this one. Give me UNLV.
Yeah, you'll never see me pull for a former Gator. And I actually love the color blue. It resembled my Mets, Shea Stadium. It's a couple things in my life that's beautiful and blue. So shout out to my boys in Boise. I enjoy a good potato every now and then too, man. Give me the Broncos.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the opposite of what Graham said. I will root for a former Mississippi State guy. Not really root, but I will pick a former Mississippi State guy. I'm definitely gonna pick Dan Mullen, UNLV, and my hot take is Dan Mullen coaches Penn State next year. And at this point, that's a great hire for them with how things have played out. That'd be a great hire.
That'd be quite the shakeup. Okay. Well, we got that. Okay. Miami, Ohio, Western Michigan. I've only watched Miami, Ohio this year, so I'm just going to pick them.
Oh, I didn't even see this game. Good.
Yeah, you're right, Logan. I was wrong about that Tulane North Texas game. I don't even know. Can I pick for them to tie? I wish this was like the NFL. Can they just forfeit? Can they both forfeit before the game starts? Everybody gets COVID, so nobody gets to play.
That's crazy.
No, yeah, give me Miami, Ohio.
I actually hollered at the AD from Miami, Ohio. I became a booster for the team, and we actually spoke about it. They're gonna slap box it out at halftime and just call it something quick, man. We're not even gonna play a full game for this one. They're gonna keep it brief out there, bro. We're gonna play one half of football and then just slap box it out for the winner. With that being said, who's Miami, Ohio's who they mascot out there? Anybody know?
Are they the Red Herd? Red something. Red. I want to say Hurricanes, but that might not be right.
I think it
I
is.
was blue last round, so I'm feeling red this
Red
round.
Hawks.
Give me Miami.
Hawks.
Yeah, Skyami. We out in Skyami this weekend with it.
Graham
Yeah, I'm
gave
gonna be
every
honest.
player a $10 discount or 10% discount at Krispy Kreme. That's what he
There we go,
gave.
yeah. I became an NIL donor, and they automatically say you actually the league commissioner now, bro. I said, all right, fair enough. We slapboxing at halftime, man. We're gonna do things a little different this year.
I think you're disrespecting Big Ben. I'm sure he's donating more than I would hope, at least, to Miami, Ohio. I will say this game alone makes me want to say I apologize for picking everything because I did not see this game mixed in with the good games at the bottom.
Here we are, buddy.
Well, the top 4 games, I was not mad at picking. This one, I'm mad that I'm making this pick. Western Michigan's in Michigan. They're at home. Give me Western Michigan. I have no idea about either one of these teams. But I will say this. There's going to be minus 12 people watching this game over BYU and Texas Tech. Like, that is insane to know that that's being played on Saturday. That should be played today, honestly, if they wanted viewership. So
This game will be on at noon on Cartoon Network for anybody.
A WGN. All right. Well, here, last
to the
one, we're
meat
getting
and
to the big
potatoes.
3. This one, all right. Duke is Virginia's a 2.5 point favorite in this game. If they win, they're pretty much locking the playoffs. This game right here, if Duke loses or Duke wins, there is going to be chaos ensuing. Chaos. I want chaos. I got Mr. Mensa and the Blue Devils pulling the upset off against the Cavs, unleashing chaos on college football.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Duke is good enough to possibly win this game, but with the implications on the line, I'm going to put my faith in Virginia for this one. They got the whole ACC rooting for them right now, so I'm going to take them.
Yeah, Trip, I like that. I was drinking some of the same Kool-Aid that Joey, clearly sipped on before he hopped on camera tonight.
I met up with Carlos Boozer.
Hey, fair enough. You a taxpaying citizen. That's your business, man. But all I'm saying is I agree with Trip. I do think that the ACC is all pulling for Virginia. And I actually did watch them beat the brakes off of Virginia Tech last week. And what I will say, that defense was playing so hungry and scored like so many points for that team, bro. Like, it was cool to see the seniors and the leaders for that team care the way that they cared, because it reminded me of the football that we all talk about and reminisce on when we talk about the nostalgia days. I know Virginia and the ACC, it's Farmers League compared to some of the bigger leagues, but I'm kind of feeling this Virginia squad, man. Give me Virginia to carry it through. It might be close, but I got them winning.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Just 3 weeks ago, these schools played. When they played, Duke was down 31-3. The final was 34-17. It looked a little closer, but Duke got smacked, dude. They really did. And I'm going to come out and say this. Easton, I apologize for you being nervous to play at Duke, because now I didn't know y'all were playing an ACC caliber opponent, like championship opponent. I was really unaware how good Duke was this year at their 7-5 record. Darian, I forget how you say it, Mensah, or however you say it. He's actually been pretty good this year, and we were talking about that with Easton that day. We were giving him crap about being nervous to go play at Duke, but he's had a pretty good season. I'm going Duke here. And I'm going for Duke mainly for one reason. Virginia's schedule's been pretty horrendous. They haven't really played much of anybody as far as like overall. Neither is Duke really, but I'm going to put my faith in Duke's quarterback here. And I'm going to look for Duke to make the ACC the absolute laughing stock that it is, because this was going to go to Colby, Joey. He loves to say ACC is a better conference than they really are. So this is the 1 year where ACC don't really got shit going for them. I think Duke's going to win, but then watch. Somehow Miami sneaks in. Watch it happen. Watch them protect ACC.
I just want to say I think it's so stupid that Miami's not playing in this game.
Makes no sense to me.
Oh,
Yeah,
their
it's
tiebreaker thing is horrendous. ACC got
it's
exposed.
so dumb. What a disservice to us. Here we are complaining again. But okay, so we're split 2-2 there. All right. Well, we'll talk about we'll pick elaborate a little bit on this one because this one's got a lot of playoff implications. So, if regardless of the result, do you guys think BYU and Texas are locks in the playoffs? If either one wins or loses.
You mean Texas Tech?
Did I say Virginia Tech?
No, you
No,
said
you said
Tech.
Texas.
Damn, I got it double wrong. Yeah.
It's because Texas
Tech,
is a playoff team.
yeah, right. I wanted to force Graham's agenda. Texas Tech, BYU. Does either one get booted if they lose this game?
I
They
think
should
Texas Tech
not.
stays.
I would say they should not, but if BYU loses, they will fall out, and they shouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't think they should, but they will.
I think.
Yeah.
Well, remember last year too. I mean, and there's not everything's apples to apples, but SMU. I mean, they lost and didn't get kicked out. And I think if you want to preserve conference championship weekend, Alabama better stay in, and BYU better stay in if you want to preserve conference championship weekend.
The only thing that I could see where it would make sense for the committee to make that decision, if Texas Tech were to come in here and beat them by like 35 plus, then okay. If BYU gets booted, so be it. But if this is a competitive game by any means that's decided by 2 scores or less, you're sending a message to the college football fans, everybody involved, that conference championships don't mean shit anymore if you do that. So who knows? We'll see.
Well, I'm going to go BYU in this one. In their last matchup, here, I just want to, as a reference, oops, clicked on the wrong one. Sorry. I love these games being played at NFL stadiums, by the way. I love the look of it. So these two teams last played a few weeks ago, and Texas Tech skull drugged them 29-7. So like Tripp said, what I wonder though, it's not like they're playing a new team, right? This is a team that they've already lost to. So like oh God, this is such a mind warp. Because you're gonna kick them out for losing to a team that's already beat them in BYU. You know what I mean? Like, God, this is gonna get sticky. I think BYU knows what's at stake. Texas Tech probably feels like they're locked. I don't think you go into a game wanting to being like, oh, we don't care if we lose this game because we're in. I think this is too competitive for that. But I got the BYU guys shoving it to Texas Tech and Penn State. Said, you're not taking our coach. We're going to the playoff.
I think it's going to be a very similar result to the last time they played a few weeks ago. This Texas Tech team is pretty solid, man. And not to take anything away from BYU, but I think Logan said it a few weeks ago. Like, I can't trust a quarterback that wears number whatever. What does he wear? 48 or 47? That's the ugliest quarterback I've ever seen in my life. But I think Texas Tech is about to mop the floor with them again, and it could very well be the reason why the committee says, well, we gave you a chance to play a playoff team twice in the same season, and you lost both times. So I'm going to go Texas Tech.
Yeah, I did want to be devil's advocate here. I think Buddy is paying homage to Andre Kirilenko, and I'm not even trying to be funny.
Utah.
BYU is out in Utah. I think he's just an extreme ball knower. Even though I do appreciate his ball knowledge, it doesn't have anything to do with my pick. I think Texas Tech treats this like their Super Bowl. I do not think Texas Tech is ready for the playoff hunt just yet. I know they're going to get in, but I don't think they're ready to go on a real push just yet. They're going to need to stack 1 or 2 seasons like this, semi or consecutively or semi-consecutively, before I can trust them to make a real run. But I do think they're going to beat the brakes off this BYU team again, this weekend, and solidify why they're a top 5 seed. So yeah, that's my pick.
just to touch on Bear, number 47, their quarterback. The reason why he wears 47 is he was a linebacker converted to a quarterback and just decided not to change his number. I actually seen a clip on it. So it's no AK-47, but I do love that narrative. Let's push it. That'd be way sweeter.
Yeah, that's my narrative.
Yeah,
Hey, you should holler at me, man. You should go ahead and just holler at me. We can get the
I
book
will
ready.
say this. I'm picking Texas Tech here, but I do not think it's about to be a slug. It's not going to be a blowout. I don't know what the word I was trying to say was.
Slugfest.
Yeah, I was thinking slugfest, or what's the other one? Bloodbath. I was like putting those two together. I don't know why.
Slugbath.
Yeah, slugbath. Disgusting. So the reason why I think BYU will hang in this game is because they literally just pushed all their chips to the middle of the table and said, "Hey, Penn State, you are not getting our guy." Like, they brought in religion on that man. They were literally like, no. Like, they brought in the churches and stuff and convinced this man to stay, got more money. There was like one of the BYU guys is like the owner of Crumble Cookie. He like posted a tweet talking about he's put more money in. There's also another big company. I can't remember off the top of my head. They put more money in towards BYU to get that man to stay. So I think BYU is going to be a little fired up. Like, hey, we went and got our guy. We kept him. He's got us to some heights we haven't been to, things of that nature. So I do think BYU is going to be a little fired up, but I do think Texas Tech is the better school. And with that being said, I can see BYU if it's another 20-point loss or something, which I think it might be like one possession. I think if it's a one-possession game, BYU has a shot to stay in. But I think if it's anything more than that, BYU's probably out. But I'm going to go ahead and say if an 11-win team, 11-win regular season team on top of that misses the playoffs, dude, they got to get something. They got to get something together, dude. That's going to be horrendous for the sport. That's not going to be – I get the play – like, they don't have a signature win or anything, but 11 wins, bro. And keep in mind, you're 11-2, but you're really 11 at Texas Tech, like your guys are saying. Like, if you lose this game, yeah, you're 11-2, but you're 11 at Texas Tech. Like, Texas Tech's the team that beat you, and that's it. So it's like, I think it'd be a super disservice just overall to have BYU not get in. Being an 11-win regular season team and missing the playoffs would be absurd.
Yeah, I agree with that one. But I do think they're going to end up getting in. Otherwise, you're saying it's subjectivity versus objectivity is how you're doing it if you're the committee. All right. So we're going to go into the Big Ten championship first. Number 2, Indiana versus number 1, Ohio State. A lot of people are griping about this not being College Game Day, but I'm like, Fox is showing the game. Fox is covering it. SEC or College Game Day is ESPN is covering Georgia, Alabama. It's on game day. I feel like it's that simple, personally.
Personally, I think it should be Western Michigan and Miami, Ohio.
Fair enough, yeah. Real barn burner there. So these teams both have the number 45 and 46 strength of schedule. I think Ohio State has, to me, I know we can talk about the schedule or what have you. I don't think there's a team better in the sport than this team right here. And it's because of their defense, they're suffocating. I mean, they make Arch Manning, look like he was an 8th grader when they played. And I don't think Michigan really has a good offense, but they suffocated Michigan after that pick. Or I think it was the pick, and they scored on those field goals. Really never got anything going. I think Ohio State's going to be the number 1 overall seed. Guys, I think they're going to go undefeated and win the championship. I really do, and I think they're going to make a statement against this Indiana team. Now, Indiana obviously led by Mendoza. I mean, this could be a Heisman game. You know what I mean? Like, this could decide who wins the Heisman, which ups the ante always. But these Ohio State dudes, they are bad to the bone. A lot of these guys are going to go in the first round next year for Ohio State. I would say probably at least 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, I think that they're about to get another run started.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take Indiana. And I'll tell you why. Jeremiah Smith, Tate, both coming back from injuries that they've been kind of rushing back, almost to say a little bit. I know that they were kind of limited a couple weeks ago. They played last week, but didn't really see nothing too crazy. Craziest part about this game, if you look up the matchup predictor on ESPN, it's literally almost dead even. They've got Indiana at 50.6% and Ohio State at 49.4. Like it's about as close.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I truly think this Indiana team is good enough to beat a lot of teams. And I don't think Ohio State's really been tested like we think they have. I'm not taking anything away from them. But Julian Sayin is a first-year player. They do have two of the best players in the entire country. I will give them that. But give me Signetti, man. Google him.
Hey, I know we were looking at this guy like, okay, sure, buddy. The guy's lost one game in his entire career. And I mean, no, it's only 2 years, but he's only lost one game.
Hey, I'll take losing one game over 2 years any day of the week.
Yeah, bring it on.
And it's a playoff game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
He might be the new Saban. Who knows? For these big games, I actually did a couple of notes, and I did X Factor players for each big game. Actually, the 5 big games that I think Logan called out earlier, I did X Factors for each of them. So obviously for this one on Indiana side, I got Mendoza for offense, and I got Elijah Hardy for defense. He's like he's their CJ Allen. You know, I mean, I'm a Georgia fan. I'm gonna relate to things the best way I can with what I know and what I'm most familiar with. And to be honest with you, you know, he's the heart and soul of that defense, just like CJ is for ours. And I respect the hell out of the way that he plays ball. So he's my X factor for them. And obviously for Ohio State, I've decided that Jeremiah Smith is so much of a dog, I'm only calling him his first name now. He's going by Jeremiah. That's who I'm talking about when I say Jeremiah. Not Jeremiah Love, not Jeremiah anybody. That's who I'm talking about. You know he's the X factor in any game he plays in. And obviously, I think there's a couple of defensive players that you can pick from on the Ohio State side, but I'm picking Arvell Reese. And it's because I feel like if Arvell Reese can affect Mendoza the way that Ohio State needs him to, if we look back at this game and Arvell Reese finishes with three or more sacks, I like how Brooks and them be doing. If come back and see me unless it don't happen.
Yeah, no.
That's
You heard it here first, unless it doesn't happen.
There we go. Yeah. So give me that for Arvell, man. I got Arvell getting 3 sacks, and I got Ohio State beating Indiana 24-17. I'll even give y'all a score prediction.
I like it. I'm going to start by saying this. There is nothing more than that I would like for Indiana to win this. Just because it's the underdog story, Ohio State's the dominant football program. It would be sweet to see Signetti really become the Sig 10 out here. I would love that.
Sig 10, that's
I'd be
awesome.
a big fan of that. So I'm going to be honest. It's hard for me to pick this one because I want to say Ohio State, but then kind of what Tripp touched on. Sayin's really young and hasn't been tested. And Fernando Mendoza is not young and has been tested for multiple years now. He's been in some bigger moments. So I think with this being a night game, it should benefit Indiana more. And it's in Indianapolis. So it's like not home field because I don't think Indiana's going to travel like that compared to Ohio State. But I just kind of feel like when the lights get bright, Mendoza's got the more veteran savvy in him versus Sayin. But then again, the like opposite
he's the
side
age
of
an accountant, so I'd hope so. But
yeah, but Sayin hasn't been tested, so we don't really know how he's going to react. But the thing, I think
it's about to be Hot Wheels versus Matchbox. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember as kids when somebody with a big clunky heavy ass Matchbox would try and race your Hot Wheel? It's nothing personal, bro. I'm about to dust your shit.
I'm gonna jump in on that little real quick. As a kid, I preferred Matchbox because they look like real cars. Hot Wheels look like some crazy shit. If I wasn't on the track, I ain't
faster.
no Hot Wheel.
All I said was what was faster.
Hey, like I said, if I wasn't on the orange track, I did not want a Hot Wheel. If I was on my little rug with the little houses and fire department, give me Matchbox all day long. You know what I'm saying? That's just me.
What a debate.
Patreon. You already
That's the real matchup of the week right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Matchbox versus Hot Wheel. I still like my Hot Wheels though. Don't let me fool you. But no, I think I'm gonna go Ohio State here. I think they're gonna edge them out, but I do think Indiana's good, dude. I think Indiana can make a run. I really do. Like I do believe in Indiana. What are we laughing about?
Tripp's a 5-year-old.
Nothing. Go ahead. Keep going. It was nothing about you. It was just something you said.
Well, I'm just looking up and y'all grinning like the butcher's dog, man. I didn't know what's going on. So, yeah, I got Ohio State edging them out, I think, in the long run. I think they're a more all-around football team. I don't think they really have any holes. And I I wouldn't be surprised though if it comes down to it. Mendoza's veteran savvy leadership maybe gives them the edge, but I just think Ohio State's better in a lot of other categories.
Smiling like the butcher's dog is the most Mississippi thing you have ever said in your entire life.
Hey, fun fact. You want to know where I got that from? The Pat McAfee show. So it's actually Pat McAfee show says it all the time.
That's hilarious. That sounds
They're from Pittsburgh.
Well, he's from West Virginia, so that's just as hicky.
No, he's from Pittsburgh. He went to West Virginia.
Yeah, we spent time. That's enough hick to get in there.
Pittsburgh is the Hiram of West Virginia. So, I mean, hey, to all our out-of-towners, y'all not gonna get that because that's Patreon content. Y'all got to get on the damn Patreon, and we're gonna explain to y'all what Hiram is, man. Get on.
Let's get to the SEC. We gotta wrap this up, bro.
All right. Okay. So
we over here debating matchboxes and talking about the Hiram, bro. Come on now.
All right, so here we are. The game for this panel, at least, is at 4:00. Number 3, Georgia, playing number 9, Alabama, at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which I'll be at the next day for watch the Falcons disappoint me against the Seahawks.
They just sell the tickets.
Yeah. So, guys, we know what this game is. Just gonna look at it real quick. Obviously, this is kind of the monkey on Kirby's back that has been tough to get off. Georgia opens up as a 2.5-point favorite to win this game, but we know what's going on. We know what's behind this game and what determines it. ESPN, the matchup predictor, Alabama is predicted to win. Not the percentage in the ton is only 2 or 3%. But this is the game. Like, if Georgia wants to be a national champion again, it's gonna go through Alabama. It's gonna happen that way. I will say, I think this is the way Alabama's been playing lately. This is a great time for Georgia to play them. Georgia seemed to have been getting better. Obviously, Tech wasn't the best performance offensively, at least, but defense seems like it's really clicking. I mean, Georgia Tech was suffocated for 4 quarters when they played last weekend. That's a really good offense. So I want to pick last here. But feel free to add any insight to the game.
I'm going to go out of order. Can I go out of order? Can I go ahead and pick since I'm like the non-biased in this one? And I'll leave it to you guys because y'all are probably going to be more long-winded anyways, which rightfully so. I'm going dogs. What's that coming down the track? It's the boys in red and black. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think is going on here. And the
Mean Machine in red and black.
Here. All right, bro.
Why do you gotta ruin it? Let him have his moment.
You know what? Roll Tide, dude. Roll Tide. Joey's an ass. Ty Simpson's going to rush for 50-plus yards, and that's going to be the reason Bama wins. Fuck you, Joey. All right, no, I'm kidding. I love you, Joey. All seriousness, that is a point I'm going to make. The reason why I think Georgia's going to win is because Alabama has not been able to run the football all year. The thing is, we keep blaming it on Alabama not running the football. I think it has to do with their offensive line. I don't think their offensive line is particularly great. Yes, y'all didn't look great against Tech. They didn't look good against Auburn either. Auburn had a chance to win that game at the end and fumbled it. So I think you guys are going to edge them out. I think Kirby Smart's going to finally get another one under his belt against Bama. I think I picked you guys early in the year too. I just really believe in Kirby Smart. And I think the biggest thing, I truly do believe if Ty Simpson runs for more than 35, 40 yards, I think Bama wins. I really do. I think if Ty Simpson uses his legs like he did against Auburn, it will play a big difference in this game. I didn't realize Boyd could run like that. Like, he low-key is a little mobile. Like, doesn't really show it, but he can move a little bit. He didn't look bad running the ball. And I think that could provide a real big edge for that offense if he's able to do that. But I don't know if it's going to be as easy to run the ball against a Georgia defense. That's just how I feel. Auburn versus Georgia, we're talking about 2 totally different defenses. So I got Georgia, but make the note. If Simpson runs for 35-plus yards, you boys might be in trouble because that means means your defense isn't performing. And I think that's kind of their biggest struggle is offensive line / running the football. So I do got the dogs, though.
Yeah, this is I know I talked about this the last time we played them in the regular season. This is a game I dread no matter what time of the year we're playing them. It's a mental warfare, and that's just being an honest Georgia fan. It never matters how good or bad or what is going on. It's Alabama. Now, to Joey's point, over the course of the last half of the season, Georgia has progressively gotten better. Little by little, week by week, we have seen a lot of improvements. The last time we faced Alabama, we had I think it was either 5 or 6 different setups for offensive linemen at that point in the season. We had a lot of injuries. We had a lot of rotation guys coming in because we had just a lot of issues on the line that we were dealing with. We've got that again this week. Our center is out. That's not going to be good. This is going to be bad news. Now, how we shift things, because I know there's talks about other people shifting to center to make up for that and people going here and there. I have no idea what to expect. But aside from that, we're relatively healthy for this game. And so, last week was not a good appetizer for what's coming this week. I mean, Gunner threw the ball for 70 yards. Now, granted, we ran the ball for over 250, I believe. But I don't even know what to predict for this game. I know I'm going to be forced to make a pick because we have to do it. I have no idea what to expect for this outcome. And a lot of that is because I think Georgia, like I said, has gotten better. Alabama has been playing down to their opponents a lot for their last half of the season. And I think what's truly going to determine this game is third down efficiency. We let Alabama start off the game. I think it was like 8 of their first 8 third downs they converted. And it was like
6 for 6 on the first drive.
Yeah, exactly. And then played lights out defense the second half and still couldn't make it happen. So I don't give a shit. You put a gun in my head, I'm going to say go Dogs. I'm never going to pick Alabama. I don't give a shit. It's always going to be go Dogs. And I just hope they don't disappoint me again this weekend.
Hey, if you cut Trip open, he's bleeding red and black. That's what I heard. And honestly, as a diehard fan of Ole Miss, I respect that. Just want to throw that in there. Shout out to Trip, bleeding red and black. The meme machine. Sorry, Joey.
It's all good, bro.
I guess it's my bat since Joey, elected to go last. I'll stay true and give y'all my X factors for defense for the Dogs. I got Ellis Robinson as my X factor, man. Leading interception, leading the SEC in interceptions as a redshirt freshman, really coming into his own in these last 5 weeks. And I do think the one difference to me when I look at the schematics of this game, especially with how frequently we've played this team over the last, 5 years. One thing I don't think we can say about this team, except for the side that was able to eventually beat Bama once, no other team besides 2021 had 2 shutdown corners, legit shutdown corners. Everett was not the corner he was last year, that year. He was not. The year before that, we know that people picked on Everett. We actually elected for Everett to go in the portal a few times. So I think having 2 shutdown corners this time around, Ellis wasn't playing nearly in the form that he was last year. I don't even know if he was starting the last time we played against Bama. So he's my X factor for defense. And I've got both of the quarterbacks as the X factors for the offensive side. I'll go ahead and give that spoiler. For the defensive X factor, you said what now?
You don't remember Ellis swanton diving into that pile at the end?
I do know that, but did he start that game though?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
I just had to throw that in there. Go ahead.
Got you. I do remember that. I didn't know if he was just rotating in doing that goofy ass shit, but yeah. I got Tim Keenan being the X factor for them, obviously because of what Tripp already pointed out. Drew Bobo's going to be out for the season. So any nose guard going against us from this point forward needs to be trying to make that his X factor moving forward. My prediction, man, I got Bama winning 35-31. I've struggled with this pick since I've come to terms with the fact we was playing them last weekend. It was so bittersweet because we beat Tech, no matter how ugly that is. Since a kid, beating Tech, I've always enjoyed it. And this win felt different than any other one I can remember because I almost had to immediately acknowledge the fact that we was going to be playing Bama.
Yeah, no,
my girl looked at me. She's like, my girl like, damn, we playing Bama, aren't we? I'm like, yep. Like, she didn't even know yet, but she saw the look on my face. So that's just how it is for all real dog fans, man. That's
Graham, I just want to say, that's love right there. If she can just look at you and know, that's love.
Oh yeah.
Bro. You better be looking like
Logan, and she was with me. She was with me when we beat them too. When Keely Ringo was running down that field, so she does see the highs and lows. I only got Bama winning this matchup for the exact thing that Joey touched on. we're down a center, and I don't know if Kirby's going to push all his eggs in the basket for a game that, just like if BYU loses to the team they've already lost to, and that's your only 2 losses, I guess that's just – it's hard for me, man. Bobo being out was the icing on the cake. So, yeah, I got Bama winning.
Well, Bobo being out is definitely going to be big. I think Tolliver is going to be getting a start. Who knows? It could move people around, but it's definitely an adjustment. And Tim Keenan's the wrong guy to have that injury against, like you said. So you guys know my logic. I'm going to pick Bama until Georgia beats him, right? I mean, that's just how it is. I need Gunner to be more than serviceable in this game. I need him to be a dynamic player. I'm not saying he needs to be 2019 Joe Burrow. I'm not saying any of that. He has to lace everything in the smallest nooks and crannies. I'm not saying none of that. I need him to be a difference maker of a football player. When he plays like he did against Tennessee and Ole Miss, it totally changes that offense, especially with how well they can run the ball. Bama, that receiving core and Ty Simpson, I know they've had some down, bit past few weeks. Even the game, is it the Eastern Illinois game? Ty Simpson, I think threw 2 picks in that game, no touchdowns. And ever since LSU, really been struggling. It seems. But I mean, that receiving core is still one you have to be, take note of. They have been struggling to run the ball, like we've talked about. But I think Jay Miller's out too. So or I don't know if he's out, but he's hurt. I know their center's hurt too. I don't think Caden Proctor's kind of overrated. He gets beat off the edge a lot. So hopefully we can really take advantage of the speed rush.
He does what to the edge?
All right, bro. But so speed rush seems to kind of be like the his kryptonite, if you will. But I do have a saying, boys. Let me tell you boys something. I always say that the second team, it's hard to beat a team twice in a year, but I think the best coaching staff wins the second game. That's how I felt about the national championship against Bama, and that's how I feel about this game. I'm throwing away my preconceived notions, my preconceived picking method. I'm taking the Dogs to win the SEC championship.
Joey done turned into Jared Curtis.
Yeah. I'm taking the Dogs to win the SEC championship, get that Kalen DeBoer monkey off our back, and make a run to play those Ohio State boys and win the national championships. Give me the Dogs, baby. Give me the Dogs.
Wow.
I like it.
What a flip.
This is KJ Bolden going from Florida State to Georgia.
Kirby
Joe, I was not
slipped
expecting
him
that.
NIL.
Hey, I will say this for all our dog homers, man, real quick, as a closing statement. If there was ever a time we would beat Bama, it'd be when we're missing Bobo. Like, honestly, the worst on-paper team in this matchup, out of the last 5 times we played Bama, would you take this roster over the last 4?
Like the previous Bama?
No, would you take this Dogs roster over the last 4 rosters that played Bama?
Last year.
Excluding this year's first game.
Other than last year, no, I wouldn't.
And so that's what I'm saying. Is like we would find a way to win this one. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, Zach Branch.
Come on.
He's coming. He's coming. Well, guys.
0-5 in the SEC all time against them, man. It would be nice to get that monkey off our back. Golly.
Yeah. Let's go. I mean, this is for 2018. This is for 2012. We played Bama in the SEC championship 4 times, lost every single one, and I'm sick of it. This is when we get the monkey off the back and we make that run. So, guys, I appreciate you all tuning in. Been a long
I got
episode.
2 quick things, Joey. 2 quick things.
Bro. Go ahead, bro.
No, you're good. I just want to throw this in there because I would be dismissed to not say the second one. But the first one I want to throw in there, I failed to mention earlier. Vanderbilt football. If you want to be in the playoffs, let's hear it. I'm tired of hearing Diego Pavia for Heisman. I'm done with that. He's not a Heisman. He shouldn't even be sitting there when it gets announced. He's not that guy. He's done great things for you, but he's not a Heisman winner. Quit pushing the Heisman narrative And please, over the next week and a half, start pushing the we're a playoff team narrative, because I think that one's more important and more feasible, to be honest, more rewarding. I think that's more the proper way they should be going. So I appreciate the Pavia love and trying to put your guy on the map. Stop it. Put the football team on the map. Push for the playoffs. Secondly, one last thing. I don't want to ever have to mention this guy's name again as far as in the heartbreak that I'm in. Lane Kiffin was 1 win away. All he had to do is coach the playoffs and win the first game, and he would have had the highest win percentage in Ole Miss history. I know you would have to play a second game if you win the first one, but still, being 1 win away from having the highest win percentage. So my message to fellow Ole Miss fans, quit flipping them off, quit cussing them like a dog. Yes, it sucks. It hurts. But let's be honest here. Like, what hurts the most is if he would have stayed, the stadium would have been named after him. There would have been a statue. At LSU, he can win a natty and probably still not get either one of those things because they're that.
Yeah, he's
better.
kind of just another body at LSU.
Yeah. So, in with that being said, that says more about Kiffin than it does Ole Miss, in my opinion. It says more about what he's after. He's not really like. I think it's more about Kiffin. I love Kiffin. It's more about Kiffin than it is a program, and he kind of proved that with the way he handled everything. You could have left and left on a high horse and not put down the program you left, and left them kind of in the dump, kind of like the SpongeBob episode where like everything's on fire and SpongeBob's running around 100 different times. That's kind of what it felt like was going on for Ole Miss right there, because we were scrambling. It is a spade's a spade. We were scrambling. We had
and they couldn't remember. SpongeBob couldn't remember his name.
And hey, I kind of felt the same way, so I understand that. But yeah, I would be dismissed to not say thank you, Lane Kiffin. Boy, does it suck, but it's kind of like after a rough breakup, it's like you can't pretend like the X amount of years of Kiffin were not amazing, even though the ending sucked. So shout out to Lane Kiffin. I appreciate it. However, probably won't hear me say Kiffin too much more on this pod. I'd say wish you the best, but LSU's a rival, so I really don't.
All right. Well, that's our closing remarks from our Chief Ambassador, Logan. But, guys, we had a long episode today, so really a lot to talk about. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Got the NFL episode coming out this week. And then next time we talk about college football, we're going to have bowl games decided and we're going to have playoff seed decided. So a lot to talk about, some predictions to get into, and we'll have some updates on signing day. So we'll see. But, guys, really appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.